Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video we're going to be talking about the differences and why I would suggest shooting all of your time-lapse material on a intervalometer shooting timer instead of a built-in mode. Now, before we go too in-depth on the method that we're actually going to be talking about using in this video, I wanted to briefly get everyone caught up on what a time-lapse actually is for those who may not be familiar. So, a time-lapse is basically a piece of video that can be shot in multiple ways that we're going to go over in a moment, but a piece of video nonetheless that is shot in such a way where you're able to speed it up or speeding up normal speed video and to give the illusion of a large amount of time passing in a very short amount of time. So I'll give you an example. This is a time-lapse that I did for Salisbury Bid last year, and this time-lapse actually in reality took about 9 hours to make, or 9 hours of work, with some umbrellas going across one of the high streets in Salisbury. Now, this video itself is only 20 seconds long. So one of the main benefits you will actually get, and I would say one of the only benefits really, to be honest, that you're actually going to get from a built-in time-lapse mode over shooting it as images and then creating the video after the fact, is going to be the faster turnaround time, because you cut out a lot of the post-processing work that you actually need to do to the time-lapse to make it into a video in the first place. Also, another caveat that you need to really consider when shooting on a built-in time-lapse mode is mainly going to be that you need to nail your colors, your exposure, and the majority of what your time-lapse is actually going to look like, because you won't have the same latitude that you would have with a RAW file or a 14-bit codec of a RAW file for when it's an image, to be able to play with those colors or change those colors or manipulate that exposure cleanly, so to not have artifacts and etc. like that. Yeah, of course there's a line you can go to when it comes to color correction and tweaking the colors and grading it, but you can go a lot further and you can save or make time lapses that weren't necessarily very good in reality actually look, in my opinion, a lot better by tweaking the colors. Now, there's a debate around this about whether there's a specific, whether that's actually photography or not, but I'm not going to get into that debate right now because that's not the point of this video, but that may be a topic I talk about, and if you would be interested in hearing my thoughts on that topic, let me know in the comment section down below. I might do it in blog form or I might do it in video. We'll see. Now, at the time of recording, there is going to be the highest resolution that you can actually output a inbuilt camera time-lapse is going to be 4K, which is half or 2K less than what you can basically get on any entry-level DSLR when you're shooting photos. So you lose that amount of quality, and again with the other caveat that you're not going to be shooting raw, so you're not going to have that latitude to be able to tweak exposure and colors. Now, you may be wondering, why do I care specifically about what it's going to shoot in the respect of whether it's going to shoot in 6K or 4K if I'm going to just use it in a 1080p thing for YouTube or a 4K thing for YouTube? Because aren't I just going to downscale the 6K thing to 4K or 1080 depending on the project? But there's things you can do when you have more resolution, such as 6K. Say for example I wanted to put a digital zoom or a pan in, I can do that with a 6K file without losing quality across the entire image, because I have a lot more data there and a lot more resolution to play with, and it allows me to make some more creative choices when I create the time-lapse in post that can add a lot more movement that is a lot harder to produce in reality when you are actually on-site shooting. Now, I would always say if you can do it in camera, do it in camera, because it will look better. For example, if you can shoot time lapses on a slider, then do. Another technique which I find is really cool and really exciting, and something that I really enjoy creating, is Holy Grail or day to night time lapses. Now, these, as far as I'm aware and the research I've done before making this video, you cannot actually create those within a built-in intervalometer timer or a built-in time-lapse mode, shall I say. The only way that I'm aware of, you have to shoot on intervalometer, shoot photos, and then pause the intervalometer timer, ramp your shutter into ramping your aperture, into ramping your ISO, and then you can have that transition smoothly to night to day. I have other videos that I'm going to be revisiting and also talking about this technique more in detail, so if you're interested in those, make sure to be subscribed. But you cannot really do those when it comes to built-in time-lapse modes. So just keep this in mind. This is a technique which I would use personally for a majority of my travel work, a lot of my promotional work. Whenever I want to have two scenes or to make the appearance of a day changing, I can have, you know, the sun setting and then have it rising again, and then it's obvious that there's a different change in day as well. So these are just some creative ideas that you can be using day to nights or night to days time lapses to add into your pieces as well. But why would you hinder yourself just because there's slightly more work in doing it through an intervalometer instead of doing it for a built-in time-lapse mode? Now, again, talking about that a little bit, I wanted to briefly just cover the amount of work which actually will go into actually creating time lapses from still images. Now, they are obviously going to take up more hard drive space, and they are actually going to take up more SD space as well. So this is going to be something you're going to need to think about. But to be honest, how cheap storage actually is and how cheap storage is got nowadays, it's not too big of a deal there as well. And I would say, as a filmmaker, if you are willing to put in that extra work and that extra mile to create a better piece of content or a better time lapse in this respect, then I think, and I have experience in the respect to, I've been hired back on jobs because I put in those extra bits of effort or those extra little bits of things that, you know, may not necessarily noticed by everyone, but when they are seen by some people, they are extremely appreciated. But again, keep in mind, I am you know, using this on a professional level. So if you're more of a hobbyist and you just think, you know, you may want to get into time-lapse photography more, then knock yourself out with inbuilt mode, see if you enjoy it. Now, I'm lucky because my camera has a built-in intervalometer timer, and most cameras nowadays do have a built-in intervalometer timer, but something which you may find is that your camera doesn't have. So what you'll have to do then is just purchase a time-lapse remote, or what's known as actual intervalometer remote. There is also a slightly more expensive time-lapse remote that is being made by Gunther, who makes the LR time-lapse piece of software as well. I'll be covering this a little bit more in depth when I do my follow-up on my time-lapse tutorials that I'm going to be doing later on this year. So if you are interested in that kind of topic and you're interested for those tutorials, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this video, thank you very much for watching, and leave me some feedback in the comment section down below if you're curious. I'm going to try and add in more b-roll because I know that was something that was talked about in my last video, so I'm going to hopefully add in more b-roll in this one, and we'll see what actually happens. I'm going to be following the ideas, as I said briefly, about some of the scripted content that we're going to be doing, but also go off script a little bit in the respect of it's not so staged, so it's a little bit more kind of me having a conversation with you guys about the specific topic that we're talking about in this video. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, your night, whatever it is for you. I'll see you very, very soon.